Well, hello, this is History English Hybrid, and today's lesson is about
The Schuyler sisters, Angelica, Peggy, Eliza.
well, one of the Schuyler sisters. To be more specific, today we'll talk about Peggy Schuyler. So let's get started with some fun facts. Number 1, Peggy wasn't her real name. Her actual name was Margarita. Peggy was just a nickname. Fun fact 2, Peggy married her second cousin, and before you say anything, this was back in 1783. It was frowned upon, but common. More details on that later. Now for a brief Peggy Schuyler information overload. Margarita Peggy Schuyler was born in September 1758 in Albany, New York. Her family, one of the richest at the time, consisted of General Philip Schuyler, who worked for George Washington, Katharina Van Rensselaer Schuyler, and her, at the time, 4 siblings, Angelica, Elizabeth, Philip, Jeremiah, and John. They all lived in the Schuyler mansion. Her personality was often said to be witty and lively. She lived a good life, though she died of illness in 1801. She was eloped to Stephen Van Rensselaer III when she was 25 in 1819. Her father was very disapproving of the marriage, but again, more details on that later. Before she got married, Alexander Hamilton, Eliza's husband, talked to her first of the 3 sisters, but she was not interested. She had no children, unlike her mother and her sister Eliza, who had 18 children total. Well, that's the basics. Now time for the interesting stuff. During the time when Hamilton was interested in Eliza, he continued to write Peggy. He wrote one letter in February of 1780. In the letter, Alexander explains his feelings and the connection he had with Elizabeth in the short time of knowing her. Speaking of special connections, Peggy was a very caring person. She'd do anything to be with and protect the people she cared about. When Philip disapproved Stephen's hand to marry Peggy, she climbed out of her bedroom window on the 2nd story of the mansion just to marry Stephen, despite her father's words. Peggy has also risked her life for the people she cared deeply about. In fact, at an unknown time, the Schuyler mansion was being attacked by Native Americans. Philip Schuyler was wanted to be taken prisoner, though he was not there, but Peggy, Katharina, Eliza, and Angelica were. They all rushed to the 2nd story to remain safe. Soon after, they realized that Katharina had left her 5th child by the fireplace on the lower floor. Since all the women were pregnant except for Peggy, she ran downstairs, grabbed the baby, and ran upstairs. While running up the stairs, a Native American supposedly threw a tomahawk towards Peggy, missing but leaving a huge dent on the stairway handle. Also, in the Hamilton musical, Peggy's character is very caring. In the song The Schuyler Sisters, Peggy's character is shown to be worried about disobeying her father's rule about going into the city.
Eliza, Daddy said to be home by sundown. Daddy doesn't need to know. Daddy said not to go downtown. Like I said, you're free to go. But look around, the revolution's happening in New York. Work! It's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war. People shouting in the square. It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shore. New ideas in the air. Handsome boy, does he know it? Peach fuzz, and he can't even grow it. I want to take him far away from this place. Then I turn and see my sister's face, and she is helpless. And I know she is helpless. And her eyes are just helpless. And I realize 3 fundamental truths at the exact same time.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
Number 1. I'm a girl in a world in which my only job is to marry rich. My father has no son, so I'm the one who has to social climb the one. So I'm the oldest and the wittiest, and the gossip in New York City is insidious. And Alexander is penniless. That doesn't mean I want him any less. Elizabeth Schuyler, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Schuyler.
My sister.